All right. Thank you for joining today's class. Usually we do have another student, but they're not here yet, so let's still continue anyway. So we're going to talk about our agenda for the start right now. So normally in the past couple of classes, we've done like a little icebreaker challenge where I have a quote, I put it on the screen, and then I ask you guys to basically explain what does the quote mean. And then there's another question about the quote. This time, let's go back to a little bit of our reading comprehension. Let's do some more story. But this story is going to be way shorter than normal, only like 3 paragraphs, I think. So it's still a very short exercise, but we still have some reading comprehension questions that we want to work on so we can strengthen that skill. So our goal for this exercise, make sure we're writing in full sentences. Make sure we're writing detailed answers, at least 3 sentences. And let's just practice making our answers a bit more longer, a bit detailed, more organized, that kind of stuff. So let's jump right into this. Here is our short story. It's called The Forgotten Lunch. Emma, can you read this slide for me, please?
Sam raced out the door one morning, forgetting the lunch his mom had packed for him. He didn't notice until he sat down on the cafeteria and opened his empty backpack. His stomach rumbled, and he felt embarrassed as he watched everyone else unwrap their sandwiches. The smell of food made him even hungrier. Sam wished he had remembered to grab his lunch from the counter.
All right, excellent job. And let's continue with this slide.
Across the table, his friend Olivia noticed him sitting quietly with nothing in front of him. She leaned over and whispered, "You can have half of my sandwich if you want." Sam's eyes widened, and he shook his head at first, not wanting to take her food. But Olivia pushed the sandwich toward him and smiled. "It's okay, I don't mind." Sam took a bite, and the peanut butter and jelly sandwich tasted like the best thing he had eaten in weeks. His stomach felt better, but more importantly, his heart felt warm. He realized how kind Olivia was to share when she didn't have to. That afternoon, Sam promised himself he would always try to be as thoughtful as Olivia.
All right, excellent job. Thank you for reading. So, like I said earlier, we're going to practice our reading comprehension question skills, and we're going to try to aim to get at least 3 sentences in our answer. So here's our first question. Why was Sam embarrassed in the cafeteria? And what did Olivia do about it? So we can easily answer this with one sentence here, another sentence here, and try to explain a little bit more, try to go into detail, and let's try to reach around 3 or 4 sentences, full sentences as well. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll give you the story. I'll put the story in the chat, and we'll go from there. All right, so it's been around 7 minutes or so. Let's try to get our answers submitted within the next couple minutes. Whatever you have during that time period, just hit submit. So after a couple minutes are up, that's all the time that you get. If you do have any questions though, please let me know. Otherwise, continue writing for just a couple more minutes. All right, nicely done. Let's check out your answer. Okay, Emma, can you read your answer, please?
Sam was embarrassed in the cafeteria because he forgot to take his lunchbox to school, and his friend Olivia gave him half of her sandwich.
All right, excellent job. So very straight to the point, and great job of writing it using full sentence format. So you took word from the question and you put it directly to your answer, which is perfect. So Sam was embarrassed in the cafeteria because he forgot to take his lunchbox to school. Take his lunchbox to school, yep, makes sense. And his friend, comma, and also Olivia. So not Oliver, but it's Olivia. And his friend, Olivia, gave him half of her sandwich. Nicely done. So let's try to make sure our answer is a little bit longer for next time. These questions are pretty simple. So if we don't have four sentences, that's okay. But I think we can definitely add one, maybe two more sentences to this, just to further provide detail for our answers. But this is perfectly fine. It's correct. It's well written. I have no issues. Let's do another one. We have one more question. This one asks, what is the main theme of the story? How does the tone of the story make the reader feel? So when we're talking about tone, that means the emotional way that the author wrote the story. So how did the author write it? Did they write it with a very happy tone? Was it like an angry tone? Was it creepy? Was it scary? Those are the type of adjectives, the type of feelings that we would get when we're talking about tone. So do your best to pick one out and describe why you think that is the tone. So first part, identify the theme. Second part, how does the tone make the reader feel? So again, try to get around 3 or 4 sentences. This is going to be a longer answer for sure. So do your best to write, as much detail as you can. If you have any questions, please let me know. All right, so it's been around 7 minutes so far. So let's try to get our answers submitted within the next couple minutes, and we'll take it up, and then we'll move on to our lesson plan. So try your best to submit your answer in the next couple minutes. All right, let's check out our answer. Okay, Emma, can you read your answer, please?
The main theme of the story is Sam forgot to bring his lunchbox and his friend Olivia gave him half of her sandwich without being asked. And Sam says she doesn't have to do it, but Olivia pushed the sandwich to Sam.
All right, so the main theme of the story is Sam forgets to bring his lunchbox and his friend Olivia. So let's first change this to forgot. This is past tense. And to bring his lunchbox and his friend Olivia. Remember, when we're introducing a character like this, we need to put their names in between commas. So I got to put a comma before their name and after their name. And his friend Olivia gave him half of her sandwich without being asked. So this can just be one sentence. And we can cross this out. Sam said she didn't have to do it, but Olivia pushed the sandwich to Sam. All right, so what we're doing here is we're not really answering the question exactly. So this is a note. This answer is retelling the story. It is not telling the theme. So you didn't talk about the theme. The theme is the main lesson or message of the story. So what is the author trying to tell the readers? Is he trying to tell the readers that Sam forgot his lunch and Olivia gave him hers? That's not really the theme. That's not the message. The message, the lesson, is that it's good to share and be kind and be generous with the people around you. So that is the overall theme. It is the importance of showing kindness and being generous to others. So that's the answer that I was looking for. So the theme is showing kindness and being generous to others. Uh, the other part is the tone. The tone is friendly, lighthearted, and uplifting. It's all about helping people. It's all about being kind. So everything is very positive, very easygoing. So, Emma, let's practice understanding what theme means for next time. Maybe that'll be our next lesson plan about theme. And we'll try this question out again for another time. So let's keep it moving. Let's do our character lesson plan. So we've been doing this for a few weeks now. We've been analyzing character traits. We've been looking at, how to figure out what the character trait is, why do we say it is a certain character trait, and explaining it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make up our own character with their own character traits. So in this exercise, pretend this is an interview, okay? So I'm interviewing you, and I'm going to interview you as part of a crime scene. So you are involved in a crime. So I'm basically the detective, and I'm asking you questions to learn more about the crime. So your task is to make up a character and answer the following questions as that character. So your task is to pretend you are the character. So pretend you are the character in the crime scene. So, very first question, pretty straightforward. You can make up your own name and your own information, but the first question says, can you state your full name, your age, what you do for a living, and what were you doing at the time of the incident? So this is asking for your job. And what were you doing at the time of the incident? Try to make it up. Try to be creative. You can use a fake name, fake age, fake job. You can be creative. But try to submit your answer using maybe like one or two sentences, and then we'll continue from there. So if you have any questions for me, Emma, please let me know. This task is a little bit more creative. It's a little bit different than normal. So if you are confused, I'll help you out. All right, Emma, so this shouldn't be taking too long. Do you have any questions about this exercise? All right, very nice. So I see your answer. That's great. Let's check this out. All right, Emma, can you read your answer, please?
My name is Emma. I'm 8 years old. I'm a student. When the crime began, I was having lunch.
All right, excellent job. So we're using our own personality and our own self, so that's fine. So my name is Emma, and I am 8 years old. And let's turn this into one sentence. I am a student. That can be its own sentence. Another period there. And this can be a third sentence. When the crime began, past tense. I was having lunch. All right. Perfect. Very nicely done. So now we understand who you are, what you are doing, maybe a little bit of where you were. So now we can answer a little bit more info about the crime. So let's do question number 2. I'm the detective and I'm asking you, do you usually get along with people? Why or why not? So we're doing number 2 now. So let me cross this one out. Do you usually get along with people? Why or why not? So you got to say yes or no, and then you got to explain it. If you have any questions, please let me know. All right, nicely done. Let's look at your next answer. All right, Emma, can you read your answer, please?
I usually get along with my mom and my brother because we have lots of games to play with each other.
All right. Excellent job. So I usually get along with my mom and my brother because we have lots of games, should be plural, to play with each other. Because we have lots of games to play with each other. Because we have lots of games that we play with each other. I think it should be because we have lots of games that we play with each other. All right, great job. So now we know your name, we know your age, what you do, we know where you were and what you were doing when the crime happened, and we also know a little bit about your personality. We know you like to play games, you like to have fun, and you hang out with your family. So let's check out a few more questions. Let's do number 3. If you had a secret, would you tell me or would you keep it hidden? So remember, this is part of a crime scene. I'm a detective and I'm asking you, if you had a secret, would you tell me or would you keep it hidden? So you can pick your choice and then try to explain it a little bit. Nicely done. Let's look at your answer. All right, Emma, can you read your answer, please?
If I had a secret, I would keep it hidden.
Excellent. So if I had a secret, I would keep it hidden. So put a comma here. And like I said, it's a 2-part question. So the first part is you have to pick, would you keep it hidden or would you tell me? And the second part is explain why. So as a note, make sure you explain why you made your choice to keep it hidden. So you can say something like, I don't trust people too easily. I don't know what you're going to do with that information. I like to keep my life private. Things like that. try to add a little bit more detail because at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're trying to build a character. We're trying to build not only character traits, but some backstory, some reasons for why our character behaves a certain way. So for next time, try to add some more detail. Let's do that for question number 4. It says, what were you doing before the crime happened? And how do you feel about being a suspect or a witness of the crime? So we're doing question number 4 now. Now it's asking, what were you doing before the crime happened? So remember, you were having lunch when the crime began. So explain that time period and tell me how you feel if we said that you are a suspect. If you have any questions, please let me know. All right, nicely done. Let's check out your answer. All right, Emma, can you read your answer for me, please?
Before the crime happened, I was at the shopping mall picking some clothes for autumn and winter. I am the witness. I lived there. Happy.
All right, excellent job. So very detailed. You talked about where you were, what you were doing, and I am the witness. I would feel happy. So this part, probably we can add some detail to it. We could say I would feel, or maybe I would be happy to help with investigating the crime. Sorry, help you with investigating the crime. So before the crime happened, I was at the shopping mall picking up some clothes for autumn and winter. I'm the witness. All right, excellent. Very well done. I don't have any other comments to make here. This is a really nicely done answer. We have one more question and a couple minutes left, so let's try to make it quick. Question says, if I searched your pockets or your backpack, what would I find? If you could accuse someone else, who would it be and why? So this one is going to be very specific. What would I find in your backpack or your pockets? And if you think someone else is the suspect, tell me why. So if you have any questions, let me know, but try to submit your answer very quickly in the next couple minutes. All right, so Emma, we're almost at the end of class. So if you have your answer right now, try to hit submit. Even if it's a little bit short, that's okay. And we can take it up. All right, nicely done. So let's look at your answer. All right, Emma, can you read your answer, please?
If you search my backpack, you would find a lot of clothes and an empty lunchbox. The suspect is called Sam.
All right, excellent job. So nicely done to answer the question. Very straightforward. If you search my backpack, you would find a lot of clothes and an empty lunchbox. This is important. The suspect is called Sam. So let's say I believe that the suspect is, and we don't really need called. We can just say the suspect is Sam. So this is very well done. We identified our suspect. For next time, you can add why you think Sam is the suspect. So I know we didn't have that much time for this question, so that's okay. But for next time, add a little bit more detail. But that's it for today's class. Very well done. Very creative answers here. We'll continue with some more character topics, but we'll move on to theme after that. So nicely done, Emma. I will see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.